Busy people and lots of yellies, Worcester hipsters and fed up townies. We have more than pizza in common, with two rocks for bookends. New Haven, New Haven, New Haven, between two rocks.
Josh, start the fucking podcast.
I'm trying. It's not going great, though.
Can you actually just have that be the beginning of the podcast?
No, maybe. We'll see how it sounds. And welcome back to the Between Two Rocks podcast. I'm your host, Josh Levinson. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a little while as usual, but I'm here with my co-host, Colin Ryan.
Hey, Josh.
Good to be here. You don't even want to fuck it up like last time.
This time I just said, hey, Josh.
Damn, you got trauma from that last time.
No, it's great to be here, man. I feel like it's been a long time.
It has been a long time, yeah. But yeah, it's a brisk, wintry day, and yeah, you can apparently drive your car down here again. That's something.
Yeah.
Interesting. Don't know why that happened, but that's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's progress. You know, you got to get rid of enjoyable pedestrian-only streets.
I agree. Yeah, I think pedestrians are just one of the many plagues on this city.
Yeah, we'll fix
Along
them
with
one day.
cyclists, Yaleys,
Mm-hmm.
you and me.
You know what's funny? We went to Mexico. I went on vacation in Mexico a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we went to, just for one day, we
I
went
know,
to...
because you couldn't come do... I don't know what I invited you to. Super Bowl.
Yeah. That was funny in itself, actually. The power went out while we were trying to watch the Super Bowl.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But we went to Tulum, and they have awesome biking and pedestrian infrastructure,
Oh, really?
which I wouldn't expect
Everyone
in
I
Mexico.
know
But
goes
it's
to
it's super
Tulum now.
touristy, but
Is that like, I don't know.
that's the place to go.
That's the place to go. Like, I don't know
Mhm.
what it is, but that's where one of our friends got pregnant.
Yeah. I saw a guy. There was a guy in.
You saw a guy get pregnant.
I saw a guy get pregnant. Yeah.
You didn't let you wash.
I saw a guy in Playa del Carmen where we were talking to his friends, and they were like, we're thinking about going to Tulum. And he was like, a lot of cheap drugs in Tulum. And I just couldn't tell if he was saying it was a positive or negative.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know if
Is
he meant
just
the
like,
cost,
I
the
just
quality.
feel like, right, it should be, the drugs should just be more expensive. It just feels like it's like the Walmart.
Was
of
it just
drugs.
bad experiences that he's had
I don't know.
on good
That's
drugs? I don't know.
fascinating. Yeah. Wow. All right. Our guest this week, do you remember who it is? He's been trolling our group
yeah,
chat.
this is Dave Sorrentino, right? Is that? I'm sorry,
David Valentino.
David Valentino.
That's right.
On the Economic Development Commission,
Mhm.
but / our friend. you
First
know.
and foremost, come on.
He's our friend first.
Yeah. Dave, gay.
Free on a Sunday.
Free on a Sunday. Perfect. Yeah, Dave, you've been here for like 10 years-ish as well.
Yeah.
You're originally from Waterbury, OG.
Valley Boy.
You went to school at CCSU and studied history?
Yeah.
Or you just, yeah, all right,
A
great.
little bit of everything, you know.
I spent a little time at CCSU, as you know,
Mhm.
fellow Blue Devil.
We had Vance together, didn't we? Didn't you live in Vance?
Was that
Didn't you live in Vance?
Vance? No, I lived off campus at Essex Place.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, across from the Dog House, HAUS. They split their hot dogs,
Uh-huh.
and then they open them up, and then they put the chili on top. Pretty good.
I never went.
It's way easier to put toppings on, honestly, like that.
Yeah, no, it's true. It fits better. It's like an open face hot dog sandwich.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
I think we should probably leave and go get some hot dogs.
Love
That
it.
sounds great.
This
I'm
podcast
starving.
thing is not really going that well.
We'll just take a break.
Anyway, David and I, we hang out a bunch, and like, I'm always fascinated by your perspective of like New Haven and Connecticut history, because unlike me, who mostly makes things up, but people believe me because I wear glasses and I sound smart, you actually know stuff about the history of Connecticut and New Haven, and like, you're like, oh, like I was like, this is an old oyster fishing village, and I'm like, what? All right, that's cool, man.
Yeah. I have to
And he was
justify.
like, all right, now I'm going to Partners Buy. And I'm like, all right, this conversation's weird.
It's dick o'clock, you know.
Dave, you were like, don't make me look like
I can
4
say
minutes
it.
ago, Dave's
I
like,
can
I'm a
say
public figure. I just
you
don't
need
want
to be very
say
careful
anything
with your
controversial here.
reputation.
No. It's just a joke, you know, when it's like time to say goodbye to your
Straight
friends. It's time to have a boys' hour,
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm the same way, but it's like with video games.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one else there
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
So yeah, I guess just pairing off with like when we do hang out, it is nice because you have a perspective, and obviously you have this podcast and your write-ups. But the thing about it is like you also sort of help the newcomers to the area that don't necessarily know Connecticut. Whereas I grew up here and I've tried to find the good for staying here, and obviously family and friends first. But there is really cool, interesting stuff to do here.
Name one.
Especially, well, pay my student loans on time. That's pretty cool. So like the cost of living here is pretty good.
Didn't expect that. All right.
And so keeping that in mind.
CSU is quite affordable compared to a lot of universities.
That's true. Yeah.
And if you're an in-state kid, especially.
Are you diluting my pain with Sally Mae?
No.
Is the cost of living here good? I feel like people
No.
complain about it all the time. No, it seems terrible.
If you think about it from the actual region that we're in,
Mm-hmm.
Boston to DC and the
Yeah.
suburbs that kind of network through, like we're doing okay. We're not Jersey.
I compare everything to West Virginia.
Exactly. So,
So
and
slightly higher cost
I
of living.
I grew up-
Slightly lower moonshine factories.
Mm-hmm.
Shacks.
Higher cost of moonshine. Yeah,
I grew up in the West Virginia of Connecticut. I'm from the Valley.
that's
So
pretty accurate.
I do have that perspective on me. Cost of living in the Nordic Valley was by far, a tenth of Greenwich.
I'm always like so
Mhm.
fascinated by people in Connecticut, just like the relentless shitting on cities, and like probably Waterbury's got to be number one, or well, Bridgeport's probably number one, and then Waterbury's number two in terms of
Like
people
non-native people from the city
no,
talking
even
shit
people in
about
Connecticut
it.
just talking shit about
Yeah.
like just taking shots. At
Everybody, everywhere. Everyone has another city that they dump on.
yeah, but it's not like oh, you're from Derby, so you shit on Ansonia. Like, yeah, probably they do, but everybody shits on like Bridgeport. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like it's not even like people near Bridgeport.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those
but
are
I'm sure
people in,
Bridgeport
like,
is like,
fucking-
we're not New London.
I don't think Bridgeport even thinks about New London.
I think we lost our regionalism, and now it's like we have these micro communities that like I'm Guilford, you're Branford, and it's like wait, you're all New Haven to me, but it's just like you're the fancy coastal part of New Haven, but you have your own school district, your own firehouse. But Bridgeport, coming from Waterbury, was just like decay, and it was white flight, and it was the school district collapsing and the bulldozing of like whole communities, and so it was a carcass of what it could have been had we not done what we did to it. And so now we have this transition back to this walkable like economic growth identity for Bridgeport, and I feel like Bridgeport's kind of like she's got her braces on right now, and she's going to the dermatologist, and she's going to come back to school in the fall.
I thought you were saying like leg braces, and I was like, damn, Bridgeport's in a hard place right now.
Bridgeport's on her come up. Bridgeport's doing okay.
I'm gonna walk again.
It's very close to New York, and
With a pronounced
it's
limp.
cheaper.
There was that whole thing with the casino they were talking about, but then
Terrible idea.
Yeah, no.
reservations were like, we're not going for that. Anyway, we're getting way off track. So we're both New Havenites. You what neighborhood do you live in?
I live in City Point.
City Point.
It's a part of the hill.
It's part of the hill. I was gonna say it's not really a distinct neighborhood necessarily.
It's pretty distinct.
Historically, it was its own little peninsula. and-
Oh, see, these are the kind of
So,
fun facts Dave drops. It's
bop,
like
bop.
historically, and you're like, ooh.
Historically, we were Sodom Hill. Where the-
Sodom
where the
Hill.
Sodomites lived. Yeah,
Oh, is that
It
why?
had-
Is
it
that what
had
drew
a-
you in?
a Sapphic beach.
She's just like, hell yeah.
Yeah, it was.
There's no beaches over there, are there?
There used to be before '95.
Yeah,
there was
before
a beach.
95. Then what happened? The condos?
The highway and the train tracks and all the other things that needed to cross.
Oh yeah, the highway.
Infill development, blah blah blah. They dredged the harbor. And next thing you know, there's a IKEA.
What does dredging the harbor involve?
Is deepening it. You just go down with big dredgers that scoop up sand,
Okay,
put them on a barge,
so it's like a
bring
big
them
shovel.
somewhere else. Oftentimes when they're dredging, they also use it to build new land somewhere else. You can put it.
Yeah.
Like for instance, if you go to West Haven right now, like the coastline of West Haven was eroding, and if you go, they dredged and they extended the coastline. It's actually, I'm excited that we aren't going to lose that whole coast in the next storm. They're doing like after Sandy, we got beat up, so like, I think we're all kind of looking at global warming and all that, and so dredging is the future. I think to extend and put some grasses and make it a thing. Bird sanctuary.
Got to dredge.
Gotta save the birds, man.
Yeah, the big advantage is that you can have shipping. You can create deeper shipping channels than do commerce
Right,
that you
right.
just wouldn't have otherwise
Yeah,
because they
doesn't
wouldn't
New Haven
allow
have,
the
like,
size of the ships.
A deep.
We did. It's pretty shallow
it's
after
not deep.
hurricane. Deep.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It's
we
not
used
deep
to be
anymore.
much more.
New Haven's claim is we're the largest break bulk port on the maybe the eastern seaboard or at least
What the
this
fuck
area.
does that mean?
Basically, break bulk is any kind of cargo that is just comes in a big container, and it's not like a containerized cargo. It comes in a big pile. Think of like rocks
So it's like
or
a big
coal.
thing of peanut
or
butter
something
or
like that.
something, like one big.
I mean, that's not how they ship it. They do that. That's factory work.
I'm picturing that they just jam as much peanut butter. Like there's these guys, and they're just like they're trying to push it in, but it's going everywhere because it's real. Fucking...
So think about like scrap metal. They don't load that into containers. They load it into just basically big barges that have no top.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
That's our claim to fame is our ugly, barges with free.
Well, they kind of bring it in
We
and
do
they
have
just
that big
drop it
garbage
in a big
pile, I like
pile,
that,
and then they
yeah.
distribute it and send it out. And
Oh,
that's
interesting.
certain things are shipped that way.
it's
They're
like,
not
it's like
containerized.
the Home Depot mulch.
Cool. So I learned what dredging is and break bolt something or other. That's good.
Break bulk.
Break bulk.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
You're breaking his bulk right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What the hell? Okay. So New Haven. I know one of like the big economic historical events of New Haven was essentially this ill-fated highway to nowhere through Route 34,
The Oak Street?
destroyed
Mm.
predominantly black neighborhood and
Mm-hmm.
separated out the city, and now we were doing this sort of downtown crossing thing, which I
Mhm.
guess is better.
Yeah, so if you think about New Haven back before 95, like New Haven was a port city and it was an industrial city. It had a lot of connections to the wars. So like we created a lot of guns and, there was a lot of industry that was promoting the growth of.
Yeah, why don't we make guns here anymore, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's
the
what we
problem.
need to get back into.
You know why?
Connecticut was a real gun place, and now
Mhm.
we're all like, you kill 20 kids, and suddenly it's like, maybe we're not into guns
Oh,
anymore.
God.
And it's like,
Very cute. No,
Very
when-
cute.
that day I was working at the Head Start in New Haven. It was a very traumatic day for New Haven.
Was it?
School. Yeah, it was a tough day.
yeah, a lot of people were freaked out. It was pretty bad.
I mean, obviously it was a national, international, but like I was actually, weirdly enough, CCSU produced a lot of really great teachers that were teaching there.
Sorry.
And my Naugatuck, Connecticut neighbor was the principal. So that was for me, that was like, I had never even thought of guns. Like really, it was like a Wild West thing, but the reality that could do that and that somebody could have the break to want to do that. Look at all these people walking by though. Isn't this crazy? You guys want to close the curtains here?
No.
Yeah,
Are
we
you
love-
very distractible?
No, I just, after that first, hello, it's interesting. This, the thing I will say about Ninth Square, for instance, if you think about New Haven, this was, a shelled out part of the city, like needed a lot of renovations. And now look at it. We have shops, we have a overpriced plant store. Like it's really working for us.
I do like that plant store, though.
I love walking by.
Because they explain plants to me, which is nice. Like
That
you
is
can't
nice.
get that kind of like one-on-one attention at Home Depot where someone's
No.
like, how like negligent of a person are you?
Yeah.
What kind of animals live in your home? Like, you know what I mean? Trying to find the right. So like, yeah, you pay more, but I will say like that's kind of like
You're also
what
paying,
I wanted. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Where I'm like, I can pay $50 for a plant. It's obvious. It feels ridiculous.
Did you just, are you being cocky right now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have
Splashing that plant money.
$50,
Damn.
nothing. I'll get two. That's $100. When
Well,
you don't drink,
just
that's
one,
not even.
just
That's
one.
like a night out.
That's
So
right.
like, I laugh at
That's
you.
right.
Like, yeah, I'm like, that's no problem. That's just plant money
That's funny.
coming in.
The thing I would like to go in there is talk to them about the health of my plants. I have this like little like
Yeah, maybe they
Thing
do
on
like plant
Plant
consultancies.
consulting.
I
Yeah,
need
bring them
like
to
a
your house.
spray to like
Be
knock
great.
out this like white bug that's on my plant, and it's like really annoying. But anyway, the reason I'm even addressing is that used to be a yoga studio, and across the street that used to be a jazz shop, and now it's Barcade. It's just having lived here as long as I have, I feel like even though I'm not a local like Colin, and you and I are new here, but like I feel like I have seen the evolution of the city in a way that is, I think,
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been here for 10 years. That's like starting, I've seen some history, not a ton, but
like when they tore down that building on the corner here, and they're gonna put a hotel there, like
yeah.
all this stuff is like, oh, I was there for that.
Former economic developer Matthew Nemerson's project seemingly stuck. Anyway, I forget what I was talking about. I'm very I have not been sleeping well. How's everybody been sleeping?
Sleep debt is real,
Yeah, it is.
You know what's weird is like I've been trying to sleep with my blinds open, and I regret it every time.
Why? Would
To wake up with the
you're
sun
just like,
and-
it's not hard enough.
I sleep with a flashlight in my face.
Yeah, waking up to the sun.
I
have
just
one of
wanna
those-
feel.
I have one of those strobe lights that helps you sleep.
You know, some people like they need the TV.
I also just blast techno.
I put a little pot above me and have a slowly dripping water on my head all night. That's
Just
how I like to
It's
just
sleep.
actually rusty water. It's hard to keep finding new rust water to throw in there.
just like grandma used to do. You know,
Exactly.
It's-
Feels like home. Aren't you a little offended when people don't look in here when they walk by? Like, oh, you see
You
people
too
recording a podcast every day? Come on, look at us.
the last one, the last couple that just walked by just stared.
Yeah, that's what I like, though. I like that.
Okay, so what do you think of downtown crossing? What do you think? Like, I don't know. It feels like now that I see it, I'm like, this is not that great. Like,
I drive
Downtown
over by
Crossing?
the hospital,
bajillion lines
and
of-
I don't even know where I am.
Are you-
There are so many new buildings over
Oh yeah,
there.
over
they look all
on
the
that side
same.
of the hill.
Yeah, I love it.
It's a whole new neighborhood
the
over
new
there.
5 and
It's cool.
whatever they call them.
5/1.
5
Yeah.
over 1. That's what it's called.
I like those odds. I think the thing about that area is it's on phase one of like what the culture will be. Even if everything's built, it won't actually have like an identity for another like 15
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
But right now, if you think about the New Haven Coliseum parking lot, the site
Mhm.
that's going to be developed, and then we also have all the stuff right in front of the train station that's going to be developed, as well as behind it on Long Wharf. This whole area is going to really evolve.
Mm.
And it's,
Interesting.
if we get our flood wall up on 95, that whole area will be protected from any sea level rising. So it'll be
I think
pretty
they should build low-rise projects in front of the train station.
trendy. I think that it's an opportunity to really like reestablish that area for like obviously multi-use,
Yeah,
economic
obviously
backgrounds.
It was not ideal the situation, but
walkable depths. But the whole idea that like in the when we had this sort of like urban decay, like post-industrial decay, they bulldozed so many things. Alongside like the great migration of the African American community moving north, we had the white flight leaving the city. So now we have this sort of like pendulum swinging back where historically New Haven families that live in Northford, right? They're now living back in New Haven, but it's their granddaughter. Think about it from that perspective. It's still
Mhm.
New Haven culturally. It's just, we left and we had a homestead up in Northford. So it's like, oh, cool. Whereas we have multiculturalism everywhere here. That's what's so cool about New Haven. And I guess it was recently said that per capita, percentage-wise, we have the example of the United States as it currently is. The most educated, live here percentage-wise for the country. The population that's black in New Haven is the same population that's black across the country. And
Oh yeah.
and so on and so
I
on.
remember that 538 article.
Mhm.
We are the most.
Demographically representative city in the country.
That's right.
And
Number 2,
Mhm.
Tampa.
No way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I have to say, I've been going to Florida more. I mean, I always hated on Florida because I didn't get to go to Disney and I'm jaded. As a
Yeah.
poor kid from Waterbury.
I went to Disney World and I still hate Florida. Don't worry.
See, but I
Mhm.
loved Miami. I
It's
think
not a
Miami
problem.
is sexy.
Oh, I've never been to
Miami's
Miami.
since
Sounds
I-
expensive.
I went to Miami since the pandemic, and there
Yeah.
has been so much growth in Miami, and it's like, wow, this is like inspiring, and I want to come back to New Haven and say there has been a great migration out of larger cities to smaller places like New Haven, and we could have our own growth like that if we
Do you have to bring your? No, I assume you can just get cocaine in Miami, right? Like you don't have to bring it with you.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Is that like a soap?
Is it cheaper there at least? Probably not.
A lot of cheap drugs there.
Cost- Tulum in Miami.
Tulum in Miami.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm excited to see that like the airport has
Yeah.
broadened its horizons, like Nashville or was it Memphis?
I don't. Oh, you're
I
talking
think it's
about
Nashville. They
the
just
second phase outside of. Yeah.
Aviolo, wherever the fuck it's called.
Mm.
I was looking to take a flight down to Florida because I was like, New Haven would be like that's very easy for me.
Oh,
I'll
it's
take
great.
the fucking bus. Like I don't.
I think it's to
you
Fort
know.
Lauderdale, right?
Yeah, there's a Fort Lauderdale. There's a bunch though. There's like Fort
Which is-
Lauderdale. There's
You
like
take
West
the
Palm
bus
Beach.
to what? What was the bus
To
component?
Tweed.
Oh,
Tweed,
okay.
So I don't have to pay for
Yeah,
that.
I thought you were going to take the bus to Florida.
Taking the bus to Fort Lauderdale, it's me and the kids.
I think it's kind of exciting.
I think it's cool. You
Yeah,
know,
it's awesome.
And it's obviously for me, someone who has to go to either New York City or to the airport up by Springfield. It's really exhausting to think like we could have just had this whole time. Like the energy we could
Mhm.
have saved.
Why'd you say someone like me? Like we're not like you?
Well, you guys are flying all over. Like, aren't you going on another trip soon?
I don't think so.
I haven't really.
Josh?
I didn't travel a lot, and so
I'm
more
gonna look
recently.
at Colin's calendar. He's actually got something for the fall, but nothing before then. Yeah.
Yeah.
By someone like me, I mean like gay man. Unlike you guys, we're different. We don't like to sit in the middle seat.
Mm.
Oh, I hate the middle seat.
I gotta say, we have to pay for Henry now to travel because he's
Mhm.
over 2, which
Yeah.
kind of sucks. But also, it's like he's in the middle seat, It's great.
Yeah,
You
it's
got
like
tons of
having a
space.
half a yeah.
That's
yeah.
true. You put the arms up, you get
He
a little
doesn't
cozy.
take up. He's gonna
Yeah.
be huge though, so you
Yeah,
better
it's gonna be
enjoy
giant, and
this
it's gonna be
now.
hell.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
we're gonna
you're-
buy 4 seats.
Yeah.
What do you got on this sheet?
Yeah, so I
You
wanted
got
to
some
bring up
facts?
something that, so here, let me
You're
explain.
the first person that's brought notes, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I had no idea
I
what
don't
this
have notes.
I don't
This
even
is
know what this
Episode
place is.
239.
I'm just meandering into the void at this point.
Yeah.
So-
now we know you didn't bring notes.
The interesting thing about
It's important not to prepare for this.
we're pushing to say like the history, right? I moved from Waterbury to Naugatuck in 1997, which is technically it's like 3 miles away, but culturally it was like I had gone into the
10
atmosphere.
miles away.
Yeah. I remember coming off the highway and like looking at Naugatuck and thinking it was like Norman Rockwell. There were kids riding their bike on the Naugatuck Green. In the 90s, Waterbury was voted the worst place you could live in the United States, for perspective.
Yeah.
So-
Now it's just probably one of the worst places you could live in the eastern United States.
Well,
People writing those articles just fucking suck, man.
What?
Like the worst place to live
Oh,
in
I
the
know.
United
Well,
States.
you know,
like
that
Wallet
blows.
Hub is just like, we're
Yeah.
going to get him good this time.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers.
no,
Just
and
a picture of you mowing your lawn. You're like, come on, fuck.
It was hot.
we're trying. I think the reason why is because it was polluted. There were no jobs. There was like a lot of sadness in Waterbury at the time, and also
I
it
mean,
was,
the
it was
90s
very
were
corrupt.
rough.
It was corrupt.
90s were a rough time. It was high crime.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on. You
Yeah.
know, it was a tumultuous time in U.S. history.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not surprising.
And I didn't understand the true decay of Waterbury until I had moved to Naugatuck. And at my elementary school, they had like the historical society come in and explain the history of our area.
Mm-hmm.
As a 5th grader who had, we didn't really have that in Waterbury the same way. They explained that in the 50s, like we were hustling and bustling. And then in 1955, the state was just decimated by flooding and it ripped through. And it happened again with Sandy. And we don't really think about it, but it really set us back multiple times with these natural disasters from what our economic growth could be, because we're repairing entire cultures and human lives need to be sort of a priority. But Naugatuck really went in and
I mean, over really human lives over like stock dividends
I mean-
for shareholders.
well, at least when you're talking to a 5th grader. And so,
I mean, maybe if those 5th graders understood dividend returns.
I mean, I never learned. I don't even know what a dividend means. Is that a kink?
It's when you own a stock and then they just give you money because you've been letting them use your
Nah, yeah,
capital.
I know.
Oh, you do now. Okay,
Yeah, I
I
was
wasn't
just kidding.
sure. But
What-
if not, now you know everybody at home. That's great. You know, get those dividend
The more you
producing
know.
stocks. That's right.
But the reason I'm even addressing this is because the entire time I lived in the valley, it was always like this mindset of like, we're not the place to be. But the day-to-day life was actually like very high quality. Like it was a lot of new construction homes with above ground pools, the
it is
sandbag
funny as hell
basketball
because
courts.
I'm from Coventry, right? And
Mhm.
Coventry really actually doesn't have anything to do out there. Like it's pretty.
It's self-segregation. You're getting away.
Right. Sure. Yeah. But
Or
it's
you're
just
trapped
like-
there.
And then I come here and people are like, "Oh, it's so lame," and I'm like, "Yo, you live on like the side of a mountain. It's kind of cool." I was like, "I don't like your city is so like pretty. Like Derby and Shelton
Yeah,
are like
yeah.
really nice looking." And
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Well,
"Why
that's
do
a-
you guys hate
yeah.
it here so much?"
Well, think about it. 1950s, we had a very industrial area, and then flooding that gross, toxic river
Mm-hmm.
just washed the entire downtown away. And so, and then the scar of the flooding was replaced by Route 8. So culturally, Naugatuck and places like further south were really beat up. Like Ansonia was completely decimated. Like thinking about it from that perspective.
Really? It was just like doing
Oh.
great, and then there
And
was a flood.
same thing. Farmington River ripped through Bristol. Hartford had crazy flooding, and then all of our coastline, all of our ports and everything, they were just destroyed.
Huh.
So thinking about us as 2022 millennials that want to make this our home, for whatever reason, we have an opportunity to sort of push the boundary and sort of fix the mistakes of, economic mentality in the past, like urban renewal failures that are all over our city. All these parking lots, they didn't exist, and they could potentially be a whole new world if we do it right. And that can
A
happen
whole
in
new world
Derby.
of parking lots. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
Underground parking, right? Or who knows what it's going to be. But that could be anywhere in Connecticut. Especially look at Stamford. Look at the growth Stamford's had, or South Norwalk, and how much has grown because of transit.
Yeah, I just wonder about like the limitations, obviously, of being between Boston and New York, right? Because a lot of things, a lot of people just leave to go to those cities, right? Because they're just huge.
The brain
already
drain,
developed.
the beauty drain, right? You think you're too hot for this place, you got to get out of here.
I do see that actually quite a bit.
Yeah.
There's some very attractive people in other places.
Oh, yeah.
Not here. We're all ugly as fuck.
The dating apps around holidays are way better for some reason.
Absolutely.
Is that true?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Let me clear my schedule.
Even after that first year where it was like, during the pandemic when New Yorkers were fleeing, there were suddenly these incredibly good-looking people who were renting places in Litchfield County.
Oh man!
Just
So
trying
that's
to,
a pandemic
escape.
positive.
Yeah, sure.
I think the pandemic definitely gave us a reset on our appreciation of just normalcy.
Redistribution of attractiveness.
Yeah,
That's right. Get this bell curve. So what else you got on the sheet here?
Oh yeah. All right. So the reason why I wrote anything down is because when I moved to Naugatuck, we also were reading books,
Wow,
and
this
it was
guy
really
can
exciting.
read, everybody. Ooh.
Look at him.
But culturally, one
What
of
are
the
you,
most
the king of Naugatuck. Sorry, what?
Mr. Greyhound, we would call it.
Mr. Greyhound?
No, in Naugatuck, just because I want to talk about the educational gap, the achievement gap. They had a lot more just going for them because it was a different school district, a different budget, whatever.
Yeah.
But we read the book Mrs. Basil E. Frank Weiler and Her Mixed Up Files. Have you ever read that?
No.
Do you guys?
Never even heard of it.
No.
Exactly. E.L. I think it's Coningsburg. She wrote about this Connecticut family. They had 2 kids that ran away to New York City and they hid out at the Met. Do you remember that story, that narrative?
No.
No. So this is exactly what Connecticut is. Yes, we're not New York, and that's exactly why it's the best. We're good schools, friends with pools, parking.
Friends with pools.
Parking aplenty.
Okay. I've had a thought, okay? You know how Connecticut is always trying to come up with these garbage slogans?
You like friends with pools.
I do like friends with pools, because you know what?
Come on.
Whatever.
Think about our summer. Think about, let's be real here. We had a friend's birthday
why
party.
overcomplicate it? Why
You have a
pretend-
pool? No. Calm down.
It's like a
Calm
boat.
down.
I
Friends
also
with
don't want a
pools.
boat.
Friends with pools. Friends with boats.
Friends with boats. Having the idea that you can have a friend have a boat and you could get to his boat in less than 20 minutes.
Friends with boats. All right, I'm gonna email Ned.
And I'm not I'm an Italian from Waterbury. We didn't have, whatever. We had lead paint. That was our claim
I
to
didn't
fame.
even know that there were Italian people around.
We are the
we didn't-
most Italian city in America.
We didn't
per
have
capita.
them in Coventry.
Which one?
New
Yeah.
Haven.
Really?
Yeah, the most Italian per capita that just came out.
Wow.
And when they say New Haven, they're saying what I say is New Haven is Greater New Haven. And So,
Okay. Yeah.
they did what they had to do.
They included East Haven.
Yeah. It's critical.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
So just to bring it back so that book talks about transit and how connected we are to New York City. And if you even take it further back, we were part of the New Amsterdam. We were always geographically very connected to New York. Then we became part of the New England Charter, historically. So we're
What is that? What is the New England Charter?
it's just the British versus the Dutch. And then furthermore, the Dutch had mostly British people living there and stuff. But it was just this idea, this
What?
Cape Town, for instance, Brazil, many other places were Dutch first. New
Yeah.
Amsterdam became, New York because the
Right.
British took it over. But for a while, Connecticut was the sort of wild east of the New Amsterdam. We were the wild place where they basically were going up the Hudson River Valley, and then the natives would run away, and they relocated in Connecticut because it was sparsely, compared to the Hudson Bay, the Hudson River Valley, the New York Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
That was such
A growing.
a
thing.
tense place with people who really wanted it. And even further south, the Swedish were initially is Philly on the Delaware River, and they just decimated them that way, and they took it over as well. So this whole area, don't forget, we are an empire. We are a colonial empire, and Connecticut's tucked into it all with all these different narratives throughout history. But the big thing that happened is when the highways were built, we kind of got screwed over in a way. Where you're from, you're talking about how there's nothing to do. That's considered the quiet corner.
Yeah.
And it's the only place in this entire mega city sprawl that has pure, suburban towns. You go through those towns and it looks like you're in Vermont.
Yeah.
You're not getting that in Jersey. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's ex-urban, I guess they say. But yeah, it's definitely not.
So if you swing it, though, and you think about Willimantic, what's the narrative as a Coventry boy about Willimantic?
Heroin Town. Do you remember that 5-part Hartford Courage series
Yeah,
they
exactly.
published in
Yes.
the 90s?
Brutal.
Exactly. But
Willimantic, yeah, was considered kind of the hood.
yeah, but what
Yeah.
else is it? It's a college town. And what else is it? It's proximity to UConn. But the biggest thing is it's walkable. And so if you
It is
think about
very
it,
cute.
post-industrial.
And the same head shop that I used to buy my marijuana pipes at in 1996, still open. Amazing.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually
It's called
very
the
special.
Head Shop. Like I was there maybe 2 years ago for a comedy show, and I was just walking because I got there early, and I was walking down the street. First of all, it's very beautiful. There's like a street festival going on down there. And then the Head Shop. I was like, no, it's called the Bench Shop. That's what it is. And I was just like, holy shit, it's still open.
Mm-hmm.
That and the other one that's always impressed me is the Spencer Gifts in the mall. Like I would have thought that would have
The
gone
Crystal
out of
Mall?
business. No, the Buckland Hills Mall.
Oh, see, I never really.
We called it the New Mall because there was the Eastbrook Mall, which is a very sad mall. Not quite as sad as Crystal Mall, but up there, Ranking the saddest malls in Connecticut.
And you know what
That's
I
the
see when
game.
I see those malls? I see those spaces being redeveloped as dense infill
Apartments.
development with shops and everything.
Josh lived in a mall.
I mean,
I did live in a mall.
that's
I do
right.
miss it sometimes. I've
Do you?
actually noticed like how like if I go on a run downtown or something, or just a bike ride downtown, just seeing people does something to your brain.
Oh, yeah.
Like you don't even have to interact with them to just remind yourself that like you're part of
Yeah.
a greater society. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because I sometimes forget due to my estrangement from society, where I play video games for however many hours.
Mhm.
And I'm like. And I'm like, think I'm doing great, and then I see another person. I'm like, whoa, okay,
What is he
You
doing
go
here?
walk around your neighborhood.
Why is
though,
he
right?
here? Yeah.
What?
You go walk around
I
your
do,
neighborhood.
but
right?
it's not. I wouldn't say densely populated as
Right,
far
right.
as like walking,
Mhm.
like not like downtown or East Rock. you know?
Weirdly, though, City Point where I am, it's like a dog walking mecca. So like people
really?
park their car and walk their dog by the
So
water.
City Point is interesting because it feels like kind of isolated to me. 'Cause it's basically like where Shell and Bones is, right?
Mm.
And the yachting club, which is a hilarious name for that area, but and then it's just like right over there until you hit like West Haven, right? And then like a tiny bit up Howard Ave.
But it's also
not
like all the houses are well maintained. Everyone just like decided that was a nice little.
It was a city beautiful
spot.
development. So if you look at the way that cities were planned, New Haven is known as like a planned. It was the first planned city.
right.
And so that part obviously was like much further out,
Mhm.
but there was, a lot of investment on Howard Avenue. And so they're actually numbered like first all the way. I'm on 6th. I live on the other side of the highway. So if
Some
you
of those Howard Ave houses are like so old and beautiful.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Some of them are in rough shape.
but there was a trolley going down that. Think about it. There was a church, the community center. Like think of it.
Trolley,
It was
that'd
an
be cool as
interesting
hell,
place to
man.
be.
Yeah.
I love a trolley.
Bring back the trolley.
Bring it. You know what I was thinking? Okay, here's this. I'm pitching this idea.
Pitch it.
Pitch it. Beach bus goes straight from downtown to the beach.
Beach pods on
Which
the beach
beach?
bus. I
Free.
love it.
Which
Lighthouse. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
okay,
So it's like,
interesting.
but it's like just downtown beach, like, and only in the summer, right? Like,
Mhm.
or like May to September, maybe. Like could get the like Yaleys out there. You know what I mean? Just make it free for everybody. Maybe like 2 stops the whole way. You know what I mean?
I think it is an interesting idea to not have to utilize your car to get to that space.
And I think like it, not like I feel like people would take the bus way more if it didn't cost money, and then have to think about like exact change or like. Oh, like, well, am I gonna have to transfer? Like,
Yeah.
if you just had a very straightforward, because like we have the Union Shuttle, the Union like station shuttle, and that's cool. You know what I mean? It just goes in a circle, like all day.
Yeah,
right?
that's great.
It's free. You can just jump on it anytime, and it could be like the same thing.
Mhm.
I was actually thinking what you do is you hollow out the bus and you fill it with sand, right? Get some beach balls,
I love it.
and so you're actually kind of hanging out like on the beach. On
I
the way
love
to
it.
the beach, right?
There
The
you
only
go.
problem is if someone has to pee. It's going to turn into a real problem.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Put scorching tanning bed lights in there.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, but I just feel like during the summer, like you could, because I
Yeah.
feel like there are people like the number of people I meet who live in New Haven, who have lived in New Haven for maybe even up to 5 years, have never been to Lighthouse Point.
Exactly.
Have no idea they have access to it. Like, don't. I'm like, you could so easily, and like, yeah, they could take the regular bus, but like, it would just be cool to just have like a, and I think it would encourage more people who don't know about it or
Yeah.
are like grad students.
Yeah, exactly.
Would never,
No, totally.
Maybe they should just do it more like the what is that? The party bike, and just like it doesn't have to be like the party bike. You don't have to be biking, but the
Okay.
idea of like everything's open and it's just like a fun thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Historically, people just don't get on public transit that has wheels. That's the thing. Like
Would they
fixed-
have windows?
fixed
What if
tracks
it was like a
do
tank?
well.
Like treads.
So
but
if you
also full
think
of
about it
sand
from the
and
fast track, though.
burning burning lights.
Maybe you get one of those tank guns too, just for like fun. You know?
Yeah, every 3
It's a
blocks
selfie
you just
option.
blow something away.
this this used to be the Forbes Ave Bridge, but we did blow it away.
Jeez. I think
Beach buzz.
I think that's a good idea. I think
Beach
that
bus.
regionally, I think we have a lot of good stuff going, and so like having a West Haven beach bus would be ideal because that's become my new spot, like the sandy
Really,
point.
West Haven.
Yeah.
No, the sand is great.
Don't forget I'm from Waterbury, so like West
My
Haven
problem
is
with
still
West
cute.
Haven
West
is
Haven's awesome.
that when it's low tide, it's just so
I love it.
far out
No,
there.
that's exactly what I love about it.
Really?
Yeah. No, I
you
truly.
want to walk it like into the sea.
It
Like,
feels
you
good.
wanna-
I like
There's
that
an
little-
island out
the
there that
ridge
at low
sand
tide
there
you
that
could-
you walk on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you like that muck.
It's really
I
lovely.
do.
On
It's
your
not.
feet.
It's not really dirty though.
No,
No, I'm not saying it's dirty. I'm saying it's muck.
Yeah,
And-
it's like halfway to plasma. I love it.
I also love their boardwalk. I like.
No, they do have a great
Like the
boardwalk,
fact that
yeah.
you can get your steps in and then like jump in if you're. I really like it over
The
there.
New Haven trolley used to go right out there to West Haven.
I would love.
All of West Haven was just like a playground for New
They
York.
had
at one point.
Josh's.
Okay, here's idea number 2.
Yeah,
All right, giant wall next to the highway.
a great wall.
Great, sure, good wall. I don't want to get too ambitious. It's going to cost too much money.
This was your plan. I think it's already going through.
all right. Put a big wall, right, and
Yep.
then
Check.
dredge up the harbor, put all that as land, and turn that into like not a beach, but like a boardwalk area.
Well,
And, like put in
Long
some
Wharf
like
has that. Yeah.
maybe exactly,
Have you
like
seen the
Long Wharf.
redevelopment of the
Put like
Long
a
Wharf?
nice
plan?
Ferris wheel.
Mhm.
That's what Long Wharf needs. A nice Ferris wheel.
Ferris
That'll
wheel.
change
Do you
the
like
game.
Ferris wheels?
Yeah.
I think they're okay for one good ride every 30
Yeah,
years.
but you're not. It's about
We
the
should
ambience. that they
have like a
provide.
indoor
Mm,
zip line
you know
or
what I
something.
mean?
Something
It's
where
just that
it's
ambience.
year
And then that
round.
once a year when you go on with your like wife and you're like, oh, this
With my
is
sweetie?
cute. Yeah, with your sweetie. Exactly. Name one better place than a Ferris wheel to bring your sweetie. Okay, milkshake shop, obviously pretty good too. Like,
Yeah, on the scorching beach bus.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Nice thing about the beach bus, no air conditioning, so it's just so
Definitely
hot.
not.
Yeah.
Eco.
You want to have the
Eco.
experience before you get to the beach.
You're going to be sweating, so that way you just
That's
jump
right.
right in the water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You have to
Every
walk that
third
1 mile
block,
out.
you just
Maybe
throw a
it's also
seagull
a
into
splash
it.
pad. You know what I mean? It's just like there's like a hose just spraying wild.
I love it, but it's someone on the street that's doing it.
Sir?
Oh, it'd be almost like an amusement park. You know how like you can like go up and like use like a gun or something like that. So there'll be
Yeah.
like water guns on the route to the beach bus.
Yeah, but it's
So-
at point blank range.
It's like you're getting hit with a fire hose, just get knocked off.
It's actually the
I thought you were
fireman
going
doing
to
it.
the beach. Like, well, I got knocked off the beach bus. As you know, very few people make the entire trip. The hoses are too powerful.
But it was free.
We can televise this. Beach bus pays for itself.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
love it.
But I just feel like Long Wharf, like there's just, it's crazy we have no sort of boardwalky.
Mm.
I think
cute
Long Wharf
area.
is screwed.
Well,
Yeah,
that,
I think
you know,
they once they put the highway in, it was just done.
But I was
Look,
just saying, put
that-
up a big wall,
but Long Wharf
paint
wasn't.
it like the city. So
That's
like,
all
when you look
reclaimed.
at it, it's like you're
Paint it like the skyline so you
Yeah.
can't tell it's there. Yeah.
You got to remember that highway
put a
is.
cartoon.
It is not. That used to go over the harbor. So all of that on the other side of Long Wharf was not there before. So that's all economic growth they were trying to do at the time. And now we're doing infill where we're going to eventually have like mixed use. So we're going to have housing there. There's
Yeah.
already approved housing going on.
Yeah,
the
I saw
other
that.
side.
Even though the state was like, probably shouldn't build that. New Haven was like, we
Yeah.
need taxes.
We just really want tax.
I actually disagree with
course.
all of that stuff. I think they should make a giant park over there. Because
Yeah,
that's
go
like
for it.
historically such a better driver of like real organic economic growth that like if you put a locally desirable thing, people want to put money into it and build housing around that.
So they're on the.
If they
on
carved
the-
off a big area and made like a really cool park that people want to go to
On
that
the
has all
harbor?
kinds of nice features, send a trolley that goes over there.
Yeah.
On the harbor. Then it the economic development will
bus.
follow after that. Park bus.
Full grass. Ooh, wouldn't that be nice? You get on a bus, it's just grass.
Yeah.
Take
Wow.
your shoes off.
And
You're
once
like,
you
no
settle in,
shoes
they
on in the
open
bus.
a trash bag full of squirrels.
I think New Haven in the next 10 years will have a very interesting perspective. Now, once that development goes under, it's going to be good. Oh, here we go.
She didn't look over.
No,
Sword.
she didn't.
Mm.
She couldn't deign to. Ooh, that lady has a shopping cart. Pretty cool.
A nice one,
Yellow.
too.
I think the
Mhm.
big thing though is transit, and so that's what I was saying about that book is that they took the train in, and the kids were
Mhm.
able to have a New York little life as Connecticut kids, and that's exactly what I had growing up. I would take the train in, and I had nothing to do, and I
It
was
is outrageous that there is no high-speed rail between Boston and DC. Like it is outrageous. Like it, I
Yeah.
just cannot even fathom how like the Eastern Seaboard is like this very densely
Oh,
populated,
yeah.
like very prime for
economic
it.
powerhouse. We should have what we need.
Yeah, but no, rich people don't want their houses.
I took the train to Philly. That was excruciating.
Was it?
I wanted to be like, I wanted to see it. It was beautiful to see
Mhm.
like, you know, everything that's going on.
Did you like Philly? I get a lot of like people who are like people who love New Haven also love Philly.
Yes, I loved Philly.
Did you?
I love the Wissahickon Valley, like the neighborhoods around there. And then
Okay.
I also love downtown Philly. And
So do you like when you go to a new city like that as a history nerd?
Oh,
Do you
it's
like
delicious.
research it ahead of time?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Philly is obviously America's candy bar. If you like history, Philly's great. Because in New York, everything got bulldozed. You know, Philly has a lot. Like if you,
Is he trying to make it sexual? I can't even tell anymore. Like it's just baffling.
why won't you look at me in the eyes?
Why are
I'm not
candy
afraid to
bars
look
sexual
you in
to
the
you,
eyes.
Josh? That's the question.
That is something for me to work out.
Yeah.
So being gay in New Haven,
Uh-oh.
you wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
I heard you like to be gay in New Haven
After a certain time.
After-
when it's dick o'clock.
after
right?
6 p.m.
Before
what is
then, it's
that
all
like?
straight business.
If if you're a new gay person moving into the city, is it easy to make new friends, to be a part of the community?
So unfortunately, I've been coming to New Haven since I was in high school. Like I would take the trek from the valley on
Yeah.
63. So like I'm very familiar with New Haven. So
Right.
I
But I mean, you must know people who.
so yeah, I
had
do know
different
that
life
there's
experiences, right?
there's a coldness that can initiate with the gay community here.
Okay.
If you're maybe less symmetrical or something, you know, like if you're
somehow imperfect.
if you're
or
working on
flawed.
yourself or you know
If you're
and-
working on your.
because
if you're
they're-
working
What
on
do you mean,
being
less
more
attractive? Is that what you're
symmetrical.
saying?
yeah, I'm just you know if you
Now I
have
gotta cut off this other ear to preserve symmetry.
exactly. I know that some people have voiced how they feel frustrated. The dating options here are very sort of tiered, but it's also very transient. Unfortunately, like the Yale community being
Yeah,
as
yeah.
large as it
Are
is.
the dating options tiered unique to New Haven, or aren't the dating options tiered universally?
So we talked about the brain drain, and we also talked about like the beauty drain, but like the gay drain is
Mhm.
probably the most unfortunate thing about Connecticut. When I was a millennial in the Hartford area during the recession,
Mm-hmm.
it was just booming with gays. I made a friend every day. I worked at a restaurant in the mall, in the West Farms Mall. So like
Gay boom.
Recessions are good for
gay
the
tables were
distribution of attractiveness. Is that your contention?
So what I guess what I'm getting at is once they got their degrees, once they did what they had to do, once they figured out that they weren't exactly satisfied, they moved and they moved all over the country. So I
Mhm.
have friends that were Connecticut gays that have now sort of arched into DC. There's a large community,
Mm-hmm.
and New York obviously has a large community of just Connecticut people in general. But Boston also has a huge Connecticut native gay community. And
What
so
can New Haven do to appeal to more attractive gays?
I think it's the job. And I also know a lot of my friends that were previous to the pandemic pretty aggressive about how I should get out of Connecticut. They saw my life via like Instagram about how just normal my life was mid-pandemic, where they were trapped in their like 400 square foot unit in like Brooklyn, and they were trying to break their lease, and it was now they're all living up here. They bought juicy homes. They have pools, you know. So it's like, okay, so you found your boo. You're doing the heteronormative.
Pools.
Yeah. I
All
actually
comes
love that
back.
aspect of the pandemic that a lot of people did come back to Connecticut, and they
Yeah.
like it kind of centered a lot of people. They wanted to be closer to their families,
Exactly.
and it was like suddenly not as great as they thought living in San Francisco or something.
It's
It's
a
really
pendulum.
interesting, like reversal of urbanization that America's been going through, and probably the world. I don't know what happens. In other
Short term,
countries, probably.
urbanism is the future.
It's also,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
urbanism
more
is the
like,
future.
I mean, it's not like New Haven's Coventry either. It's people
Wow.
came.
Okay, that was pretty hurtful. You gonna
No, in terms of
apologize?
like the reverse urbanization, it was really only like the mega cities that were kind of like the destination cities.
yeah, right. Places
You
where
know.
you had a tiny ass apartment.
I
Like,
mean,
if you
yeah.
lived in Austin, you were
Yeah.
probably fine, like regardless.
Yeah.
I also think it's important that we address
St.
like
Louis.
Connecticut to our Connecticut people that came back. We were like number one in COVID compliance. Like we were number one in like safety. Like remember they were showing the map.
Yeah, sure. And people
Connecticut was the
suddenly, like,
only state, and it's like, well, are we just not giving our data out correctly? And it's like, no, we are just a well-rounded intersection of New York and New England. Like we have good.
I mean, you have
people.
to just figure it this way: wearing a mask is a great passive-aggressive way to prove you're better than other people. And what could be more Connecticut than that?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
You know? Just being like, "Wow, you're not wearing a mask." Oof,
He must have not been by the lake in Coventry. The way he's talking.
I was definitely not by the. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not a lake person.
Or lake.
That's not what we called them, but.
Ooh.
Yeah, man. Even Coventry's got its own segregation and
Yeah.
fucking classism. I mean, I struggle with it. Like, my dad is a bit classist. Like, my dad's a West Hartford Jew, and they had like money left over after Nazi
After
Germany
expenses?
and stuff. After expenses of fleeing Nazi Germany.
Oh, they left during that time.
Yeah,
That's cool.
But so they had money in Germany, and I think there was like enough left over to like buy a nice
Oh.
house or whatever. So like my dad was like a bit like bougie.
So we've got an Ashkenazi boy in the house.
Oh yeah, but my mom's side of the family was like from East Hartford, way more working class. Like her dad was like a postal worker.
Oh, cool.
And like, so like it was just such an interesting like duality of like my dad being a bit judgmental about that stuff and my mom,
Yeah. But even East Hartford back in the
Sounds
day
fun.
was like an American dream. That was like really good living. You know, the big jobs out there.
It was fun.
East Hartford
Yeah.
has changed its game now that like Glastonbury and Hebron and all that have like sort of taken the narrative of like the places.
Yeah,
to
I was
be.
actually I read an article in the Current today actually about how there's a private company trying to consider like revitalizing the XL Center, like
Hartford's downtown.
right, but just doing just the XL Center. And so like there's been a whole problem for years now where they're kind of like, well, we don't know, like you know, do we spend $250 million to like really make it nice, or you just fucking knock it down and start and it's been just kind of like piecemeal. And I think a lot of the problem, especially in the greater Hartford area, is that like people have moved into places like Glastonbury, West Hartford. That's where the nightlife is. Like no one hangs out in Hartford.
No.
People go to West Hartford and hang out there.
I mean, I was a Hartford boy, and we used to
Right.
take the
and
CCSU
it
we
used
used to charter our own buses to Hartford and get like party
yeah,
bus
like
going.
Asylum Street used to be hopping. Now
Yeah.
it's like there's a couple bars, but like
Yeah.
and it's like
Ebbs
so
and
now
flows.
there's like even if you did like make this nice and everybody goes out to see like a concert, it doesn't have the same like vibe it did.
Your
right?
mentality is very much today, and there's planning right now to do major infill, like everything around the Schubert. Is it the Schubert up there? I forget. Everything around like off of
In
Main Street.
Hartford?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, what's that one called?
they have the Wadsworth. They have
No. Well, okay, for the Wadsworth, for instance, like Wadsworth to downtown, like Wadsworth to like the Hartford 21 building, like everything in that direction. It's gorgeous, and it has such walkability, and they just put UConn in there. But the big thing that's happening now is that Hadrian's Landing out, everything over there, coming all the way in is just parking lot, and that's all going to be developed into mixed use, mixed income.
Man, good old Adrian's Landing. Do you remember that shit?
Yeah,
That
floppy
was, that was part of that whole Patriots debacle.
scandal.
Yeah.
But we're thinking right now, because I also agree that I don't want to live in Hartford right now because it has the lack of walkability. It doesn't have enough going on. But this is also, we're talking two ecosystems. They were different colonies. Hartford was its own head
But
of.
that's the thing. So like, if XL Center was nice, I would definitely be up to like taking the train up there to like go see a concert I really wanted, or go see UConn, obviously, like you know, stuff like that. Like that to me, that's not at all out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not that far at all.
Weirdly enough, for me, like I lived in New Britain, which Hartford people are like New Britain, but like the thing about New Britain is New Britain's revitalizing. The mayor there is doing amazing work and like doing.
Aaron Stewart's gonna be governor someday.
Yeah.
It's a matter of when.
But also the gay community is really embracing New Britain.
Oh really?
Yeah, a lot of my friends have purchased homes in New Britain, and the homes there are delicious. They are like Stanley, like worker quality built. Like a lot of immigrants built their homes there.
Nice
Like
little
huge
They got a
Polish
nice
community.
little candy bar.
You know,
Nice
yeah.
little
I'm not
juicy
talking them
homes.
split levels. I'm
I
talking
never
the
heard
center hall
anybody call a home
colonials. You know,
juicy before. You know, it's so weird.
Don't you think in a certain way, like Hartford already has a great nightlife scene? It's just in West Hartford.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
but like,
well, that's
the
what I was
battle
gonna say.
to be like, do you think East Haven, they're pining like, man, we got to get some of that shine from New Haven, you know, and invest
No, it'd be
$200 million. It just doesn't. These are all tiny little areas.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
Hartford has a cool downtown
exactly.
bar area. It just happens to be in West Hartford.
Exactly. Regionalism is the reality. That's what I was going to say about
Yeah.
New Britain. Is that's to me, that's Hartford, New
It's
Britain.
Greater Hartford,
Unfortunately, I don't want to disappoint anyone, but like that area to me is Greater Hartford. And I lived in New Britain, but I would go I worked in Glastonbury at a restaurant I opened, and that was to me
you
the
opened
same.
a restaurant.
I was like the waiter that like trained and opened it. Like
Oh,
yeah, I didn't open it myself,
you
but
didn't open yourself.
I opened myself up for disappointment with all those tips.
Ah,
I thought Glastonbury
Well
was
done.
a wealthy place. You know? Why are you tipping like that?
Could have let that one go, but it's not in me.
so how is the New Haven gay scene? Is it not successful in that there's not enough people to sustain it, or
My experience here is going to be very different from
Could I still get laid even though I'm gay obese?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a
there's a
thickie.
scene
I'm
for
thick,
everything?
and I feel like there is
Pretty
definitely
funny
a
themselves,
demand
yeah.
for.
Straight women seem fine with it, so they're not quite as judgy, but still.
I think that you do pretty well. I'd say
Great.
you got a good face, but
Oh, thanks.
New Haven's gay scene. A lot of my friends that lived in New Haven and left, they wanted something, but the people that are here now, they're pretty happy. And it's also a great place to be if you're in a
Partners
relationship.
Is like the spot, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
If you're
really?
already a gay in a relationship, which
Yeah.
is when I moved here, I was in a very long-term thing, and it was like a playground for me because it was just walkable. Everyone's very friendly. Everyone's educated. There's museums that are free. Like just a lot of good living out here.
Yeah.
And if you take away the fact that you're looking for a life partner and you just have fun and get drunk and maybe hook up with someone, you get to know people and you network.
Mm-hmm.
The actual community here is great. I love it. And the queer community, like, lesbian, trans, we all kind of know each other, and it's very small town happy, but it's sprinkled and, peppered with like top-notch Yale, well-rounded people. And then also like local people here are pretty cool. New Haven's a unique vibe. And so the gay community here is like a fraction of what it could have been if, like, say, we had a bigger airport. But, it is what it is for now. And I think
flights to Miami going.
Yeah, well, I take the train into New York if I want to, get into New York. And in the meantime, I walk around here and bump into people I know,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes like our little gay community. And everyone here's pretty nice and everyone's well-rounded. They're
Yeah,
obviously...
So you're like one of the... You even mentioned this before we started. Like, you're kind of one of the... We're all kind of part of a group of sort of New Haven boosters, if you will.
Yeah,
We're like a New Haven booster club,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Except that we don't give money to young athletes. But,
Boom, boom.
someday.
I think
Mhm.
it's like
we will.
this.
They'll just be like other people, and they'll do what we say.
You can find something good about wherever you live, right? I just happen to
yeah.
think that New Haven has a
As
lot
long-
more for me
Yeah.
personally, and that's why I'm here. I don't know if this would be the best place for a gay guy that's like coming from like Houston.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna be like, oh, he's gonna hate it. But the thing is, this is niche New England meets New York. You can go 10 minutes in any direction and go on a great hike.
Mm-hmm.
You can go swimming in a really nice beach, and more than that, there's a lot of diversity here.
Yeah, I think it's very telling when people disparage the place where they live.
Yeah.
That it's, I don't know. I just find that so often it's more a reflection of that person's happiness,
Yeah.
unrelated
Or
to the
their
place where they live.
exposure. You don't realize how good you have it unless you see the world. And
Mhm.
I, growing up where I grew up, like, I would go to New York, and obviously comparing it to New York is like, oh God, we're awful. But we're in New York regionally. Like if you are, I was
If
previously,
a nuclear bomb hits New York, it would affect us.
Mhm.
it would terribly.
Yeah.
But more than that, culturally, we have the benefits of New York. We are the money corner. We're the hedge funds, and we're the insurance capital. We're that part of New York.
Sexy insurance, juicy
Bop, bop.
insurance.
Juicy.
Stick
I'm
a
gonna start
straw in me.
new Insurance company called Juicy,
Juicy couture.
and I'm
I
gonna
I-
insure my beach bus.
She looked.
Hi.
It was the last second, but she looked over.
He looked
Oh,
at me.
cool tires on this truck. Whoa.
Wow.
Anyway,
Oh.
let's play some games.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Let's play some games.
He's never gotten to the end of the podcast. So he had no idea that was coming.
No.
First game we're
Sorry.
gonna play. It's fine. It's I don't listen
I
to
don't
them.
know what
I
he's
had-
in
Please
for.
don't take offense.
Pop that shirt
Don't
off,
worry.
Dave.
there's Currently,
Ooh.
we've lost all the listeners by now. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna play Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Ooh, yeah.
And what I'm thinking is New Haven economic developments. Okay, are you allowed to say anything negative like
Past,
that? Is that okay?
current.
All time,
future.
Sure.
Are
All
you,
time.
are you asking me to rate my peers in the
No,
commission?
not
No.
people.
Projects.
Projects.
Oh, yeah.
Overall projects.
I have my own opinions. Yeah.
Okay.
I will
Fuck,
say
Marry,
this, though.
Kill.
We say Mary Berry Bang where I'm from. Mary Berry Bang is cute. you know?
Mary Berry
Mm.
Bang.
Yeah. Mary Berry Bang.
Mary Berry Bang. Never heard that before.
Mary.
I like it.
It's
Barry,
Valley
I see.
colloquial.
I was thinking of Barry, like my friend Barry.
Mm-hmm.
B-A-R-R-Y.
Barry's always number one.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. I was like, Mary. I like Mary. Barry's even better. Bang. I don't know anybody named Bang.
She just cut him the other day. I think Mary Berry Bang, it was something I did so much growing up, and it really was like sort of like amazing. So I'm happy to play.
Okay, great.
We've never seen such a strong reaction.
Y'all
to
got to say Mary Berry Bang now.
Oh, I
Mary
remember
Berry
Matt,
Bang.
Matt, fantastic, like lectured me about it.
What did he say?
He said that we shouldn't call it that
Oh,
'cause it's
yeah,
like a
that's
bit.
right.
Yeah. And then I spent like
That was a
a
lot.
year explaining away,
You've been canceled. Right?
overcorrecting. No.
The number of people that think we're talking about people when
Yeah,
they
I know
say
it's true.
it
That
is
is the part that's unclear. but
troubling.
It's fine. No, not people, just ideas.
So let's go.
Yeah.
Let's pop.
Let's pop. Oof.
I'll just start by saying this. I want to kill anything that's cheap looking. This bullshit construction that's going on in the city right now is
That's it, man. That's
You
what
don't
gets
like the
that's what
5
gets
over one?
funded, though.
Yeah.
the 5/1 is fine and all, but I just worry about like, you know, the integrity of New Haven's very rich cultural history with architecture being diluted with out of state developers.
See, that's what I wonder about those new, like over by the hospital, the new areas that are just booming with construction right now. If
Yeah.
they really are going to get a
Oh,
particular identity
there
in
are-
15 years,
no,
or if they're just
even
going to be
before.
looking like dilapidated pieces of crap. by
Well,
then.
that's going to be the case, but they also have washer and dryer unit, and so you're going to look at this like mediocre, like tiled kitchen, and you're going to be like, oh, okay, this is like builder grade, fine. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the fact that we have an opportunity right now to build whatever we want on these failed urban renewals, and so let's do it right. And we just kind of are giving it away, and it's not that we're giving it away. It's just that, you know, financially, it's like very expensive to do what we want to do here.
Mhm.
But the place that we were talking about by the water, that like the government is like, hey, maybe you shouldn't. That's going to be a different type of quality. That's going to be equivalent to 360 state.
Right.
It's gonna
I think
be-
It's actually a bit unique.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
but more so, it's going to be a little bit more sturdy.
Right.
It's going to like, I don't know. It's just a different
You
quality.
see, PMC wants to put up like a 12-story, but it still looks the same shitty.
the Worcester Square one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that they spent like a year suing the other company for, and then immediately turn around
Yeah.
and we're like,
Well,
They
if you're
just
doing
wanted
it,
to like have a few
Yeah.
more years of exclusive smoothie renters.
yeah, for sure.
the smoothie building, I've heard horror stories about that building. Unfortunately, like the sprinkler
sure.
system exploding and all their stuff being ruined like multiple
Mhm.
times.
There was
spent
like
some
a
good
leak
nights
in
over
my
there.
apartment, and they just kind of gave up on it.
Oh, you live there.
Not in that one. I lived in the mall, but it's the same landlord.
You know, if that
No, I
mall had
didn't realize
taken.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
Philly
I
based.
see.
That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
problem.
Oh, I know.
And we love Philly, but we don't like that company.
No.
Right? So, and we do like that company. We're happy they're here, and we're happy they want to invest. But like, we need to let them know, like, hey, like, there's so much going on in the city, and you can be a big part of it. So let's
Yeah,
get together.
Stop fucking around.
Let's say a developer came in and wanted to build a 100-story skyscraper.
I would
you be for it?
say, it
against
has
it?
to be architecturally significant, and why not?
I think
Why?
it'd be so fucking wacky that I'd
It
be
would
for it.
absolutely,
It'd just
yeah.
be amazing.
I love it.
I don't-
That's my
One
love. Is
single
Collins
obelisk.
Is Collins 100-story skyscraper.
If it was
First
the
stop on the beach
centerpiece.
bus, Collins building.
Yeah.
And they have a top floor restaurant with like unprecedented views. That would be
It'd be
yeah.
all restaurants,
Dude.
every floor.
Top
Sca-
30
scale is
floors, let's
important.
say.
Scale is important, right? So
Because you
don't
need
wanna-
like the CEO of the hospital to rent out a floor, right? Like you
Definitely.
need some of those
Yeah.
big money rentals.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I think
Helicopter,
we
take you
should
right
have
to
much
the
Yale's-
larger
lead.
Yale's
buildings.
president.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We need bigger buildings here. Like I think we need to actually
No,
start
for
thinking
sure.
about.
Our skyline sucks.
Well, it's not even that. It's just we have this opportunity.
Disturbing density.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
We can have
Creepy.
more low-income units. We can have more traditional
You should
units.
tell all those people building those horrific things in New York near Central Park. Just do it here. We're not trying to preserve anything.
With the mega or the
yeah,
like,
the mega skyscrapers, exactly.
billionaires row. Yeah.
Yeah.
My coffee spilling on my table because the wind is so strong. Like that's crazy.
Oh, what do you mean, the little skinny towers?
Hey.
Like
hi.
on the actual tower.
Hi. No, I'm just making a joke that like those are so tall that the wind moves the building.
Yeah.
Like the fish tank is having its water.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Those are cool. I like those buildings.
Yeah, that is fucking weird.
So Mary Berry Bang. Are we doing this?
Yeah. What'd you go with?
I don't think you gave me an option.
Oh, we're not. Well, you have to come out with your own option.
Oh, my own
Yeah,
option. Okay,
it's
so I'm
free-
gonna ask.
it's
I'm
free
asking
floating.
you.
I'm gonna say
I'm
fuck
asking you.
with the Pirelli building turning
Guys, that's not how you
into
play.
a hotel.
Wait, let's start over. All right, so I'm gonna give you 3, and then you have to rate.
Are you a rules guy?
Only when it comes to this game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are you gonna
In
marry?
general, are you a rules enforcer?
Not at all. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't think of you. Are you?
Well, it depends. If you're playing a card game, I don't want you to cheat.
No, of course.
This is a made-up game that we are just putting in anything. It's fine. All right, fine. Give us 3, sure.
Well, I'm just explaining how we play. So
I
you get
understand
3.
how it's normally played. Yeah.
Mary's obviously the best one,
Fucking
and then
Waterbury
Right.
people, man. Jeez.
Bang is like I fucks with you, you know,
Yeah.
but like Mary's better, and then Barry is like you're just the worst. You
Yeah.
could still be great, but you're of the 3.
Yeah.
We play
no.
this game every podcast.
Yeah.
But do your listeners? Anyway, so
I mean, if they've listened to this far, they certainly have heard us
Oh,
play
okay.
it. Yes.
all right, so I'll give you 3 that I'm excited about. So
Okay.
the 3. So in the
Start with one. Start with your Mary.
He's not going to tell us his
No, that's
ratings,
not-
I don't think ahead of
I think
time.
I'm gonna list them, and then you guys have to say which ones you think are Mary Berry Bang, right?
Oh, you're gonna give us 3 options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so first and foremost, we're gonna start with the Long Wharf one that we were talking about. The sister towers that are gonna go in the
Yeah.
corner. That's gonna be quality
Those-
construction. It's gonna be a lot of units. with outdoor space, balconies and stuff,
Yeah.
so that when you're visiting your friends
A
there,
little grass area.
they're going to
rendering,
actually have
that
a
looks
place you
nice.
could go outside and have that conversation if you want to.
Love it.
If that's next to those office towers.
Yep, it's going to be between the new boathouse and then the office hours.
You ever
Yeah.
been in
Okay.
those office hours?
Yeah. When I was looking for office space for my old company, we did a tour there. They're pretty decent, you know.
Yeah.
They're just
Building's
kind of
nice.
like isolated over there. At
Big
the time,
time.
they
It's
were.
so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like, we offer shuttles like to
Yeah.
and from the train station. I'm like, this is still weird though.
A beach
that it's,
shuttle?
Like, over. Yeah. It was just a regular. I mean, if you're wearing a bathing suit, every bus is a beach bus.
That's
but
right.
All right, so
Okay.
second one is going to
Yeah.
be the Corsair and the Corsair 2.0 that are going in on the
Yeah.
other opposite side of the street. So that's Upper East Rock. It's in the State Street stretch.
Yeah.
It's right on the other side of the highway from what is economic growth and
Okay.
like the district
Sure.
and whatnot. And then the third of this caliber would be the Autobahn. So infill development wrapped around a parking garage in the center of the lot, which used to be the AT&T buildings, parking next to the FBI building.
Yeah.
So
And
that
that-
right now is like phase.
Our friend lives there for now.
Okay.
Our friend Monica. You
Oh.
know her, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Monica. And
Monica.
Wait, this is one that's in the works?
No,
The-
it's done.
phase
The
three,
Autobahn?
the next phase
the one
is
that has,
going
I
on.
mean, they're
that's wrapped
building
around the
more,
church over
but
there?
It's,
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And then across the street, they'll eventually do another.
It is hilarious that they're basically surrounding that church. They kind of did the same thing over there, like with the Blake or whatever, right? There's like that random ass little church right in
Yeah.
the middle of it.
Mhm.
Historical
Bad PR
preservation.
to smash up a
economic
church
growth.
to build a 5/1.
I don't even need a reason to build the Smash a church.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Anyway,
He is a
so,
public figure.
so those three. So the very distinct neighborhoods. Like, so
Yeah.
if you're thinking about the Audubon, that's
I mean, we
central.
haven't seen the Long Wharf one yet, right? So
exactly, but you can
obviously-
imagine they're going to have nice views
I mean,
of
that
the
would
water.
be my Mary, obviously, because it's just the biggest, and it's also like the most transformative in terms of like, it's like the most likely to bring something in that's actually like an attraction, like a restaurant that would be in that area that overlooks the water might be.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I say that, but then Lenny and Joe's went out of business, so who's to say?
But Lenny and Joe's went out of business in the pandemic. Let's start
Yeah,
over. Like,
sure.
you know, Lenny and Joe's were
That
popping.
was like a weird kind of thing that they were doing there. So
Well, they were doing to-go food. They were really trying. And that,
Yeah.
I think a lot of great restaurants, a lot of like staples that
Yeah,
had a lot
sure.
of culture,
I know
unfortunately.
a lot of people were bummed to see Beer Collective, Cask Republic shut down.
Yeah.
Those are two really popular.
It's unfortunate.
So we got the Audubon,
Yeah.
Long Wharf, and what's the other one?
Corsair.
I would
Corsair.
I'd kill Corsair. It's just
What?
It's-
So close to the park. It's got a pool. It's very culturally.
no, it's got a pool and a lot of people
on
live
State
there.
Street stretch. That's
Yeah.
that's a goodie.
It's fine.
All three are great. Let's just.
No.
I'll preface that. I'm happy that all three are here.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I guess it's more interesting than Autobahn. You
Mhm.
know, in terms of like Autobahn is just like a. I mean,
Yeah.
it's huge.
You could be in Denver when you walk into that building.
Right. It doesn't matter. There's nothing about it that's.
I'll
like,
marry
you
the
know,
Audubon,
Wow.
bury Long Wharf.
Whoa.
I
What
don't
are you,
like
a
it.
hurricane?
I think
Don't
they
like
should
it.
start.
Climate change.
I think they should make
stuff,
an awesome park over there. Start with
Okay.
that and build around it.
Mhm.
This guy's got a kid. He wants parks.
Yeah, and I'll bang the Corsair, but I won't be able to finish.
I'll finish, but it'll be disappointing.
Per usual.
It'll be. They'll have to ask.
Did you finish?
Oh,
He's crying. He's crying.
Yeah,
He did-
anyway,
he
it's
did
fine.
come.
Yeah. Let's get some pizza. It's fine.
I think-
I think the Long Wharf has an option to be the most transformative, but you know, I do. Yeah, I mean, is the Long Wharf Park off the possibilities now? Because remember, there was that whole thing with like the 5 areas of the Long Wharf Park.
Yeah, that's the redevelopment. It's definitely happening.
I just think it's
but
the
are
whole.
the park parts happening too, or
yeah,
just the apartment?
That's
building?
going to be like a phase. Or you're talking about the other side of the highway, like the interior by like IKEA.
Maybe
That's going to be a huge development in the
Do you remember
coming
like?
years.
Do you remember there was like that whole presentation and they showed all these like it was like a park but it was broken up into 5 separate. Like,
Yeah, which is the terrible
Yeah.
idea. I don't agree with that. Like
okay.
the value of a single large park is
No, he's
5
talking.
times larger than 5 small
You're-
parks. Is
you-
like
Yeah, but it's like it's a one big park, but it's like 5 separate.
No,
yeah,
green-
they almost
it's
had
concepts.
tracks. Yeah,
Okay.
They're like concepts.
It's
of, like, the
it's
park.
regions and zones, and the
Yeah.
park will be. It's actually going to be like a flood basin. So if it floods, it'll turn into a water catch. So it'll be
Nice.
like
So
an.
then we could do gondolas. That'd be fun.
Well,
Mhm.
just the houses around.
Otherwise,
it.
they'll just be like the gondolas will just be laying across the ground during non-flooded times.
Along with the corpses of the drowned.
Poor gondola driver just like singing a sad tune down there.
They're
know
all
what?
like playing their harmonicas.
It's just a kayak launch will come up and people
Nice.
can rent kayaks in the floodplain.
There
You know?
you go.
I
I
just
think
think there's a long history of schemes that were too large, that had too many things going on, and I'm very wary of trying to go too big.
Well, you're
Yeah.
a New Haven native. You've seen it. The ebbs and flows.
I
You
mean,
know,
even
that
like
was
West
your
Haven,
mall.
like doing their whole development. And now that neighborhood's shot, and it's just like
Haven.
they
Well,
took
you
out a
know,
whole neighborhood over there.
We're looking at a post-pandemic mindset, but in the origins of it all, like my hometown Naugatuck had something called the Naugatuck Renaissance, and it was awesome, and it was a great plan, and they were going to do it, and they're still in a lot of ways planning it, but the recession took it off the table.
Mhm.
But the studies have already been done. There's a lot of growth that can happen here. There've been statistics and data and everything, and there's room for stuff like that can happen here. And so even if it's not them that did it, something could potentially come in and fill that gap.
Yeah.
Just like with the old Coliseum site. The
the
Coliseum
Woodward
site
Farm
has
Flag
been
dream?
stagnant, but because of
Boy, that thing
utilities
is
and things
not-
like that.
Yeah.
There's so much growth potential with these parking lots. And every time I see
Mhm.
a parking lot get ripped up and turned into something, it's one step closer to being a unified city.
Yeah, it's better than anything. Like even that Olympia lot on State Street that they're turning into something. Although I don't know what's gonna happen with the State House once that happens.
I saw
Uh,
someone post on Reddit the other day. They were
Yeah.
like, this parking space in my town costs $24 an hour to park there, and that's more than I make, and this economy sucks. I'm like,
Jeez.
oh man.
Jesus Christ, this is a lot.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. And actually, a big part of this area is that there's a group coming in. They're doing subsidized housing that's gonna actually make people that are traditional New Havenites be able to still live in downtown New Haven, which I think is cool.
Nice.
And that's gonna be an
Mhm.
extension over there. And I think they're gonna have a pass through to get to the State House.
Mm.
The State House just had an amazing event, a queer event called Sweat, that my friends put on, and it was sort of satellite gays from all over Connecticut came to New Haven, just
Mhm.
like they used to when I would come to go to Gotham, which is now a bank and apartments, but back in the day it was the place to go. There was
Mhm.
a line around the
I still
building.
rage at the bank.
Yeah, I still go to Gotham in my mind.
Gotham was teen night for me even before that when I was going with like whatever. But now we have Sweat, which a Fairfield County friend came up and he threw an event.
Mm.
And it was a huge success, and people are really excited go to the next one.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited that the State House survived the pandemic. Actually,
Yeah.
I
That
know,
was
I
like
thought it was done.
I thought
for
it was done.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
and a friend of mine.
I
was
hope
one
they
of the
keep
people
going
involved
for a
in this.
while.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
yeah.
So if you have ambition to try to create culture and space here, like that's
I
the cool
don't.
thing is that you're doing it. Between
No.
Between Two Rocks is something that a lot of my friends reference.
Oh my god.
Isn't that crazy?
You're so pathetic.
Like, don't read that.
Yo, it's so weird when I meet somebody and they're like, "You're the Between Two Rocks guy," and I'm just like, should I feel shame, pride? Like,
I think
Do you
should-
feel like anxiety? Like you have to, you want them to hope for more?
I do always despise
you-
when
you're
someone
thinking
like
that they might
Dallas
think of
invites
more?
me, introduces me as a famous comedian. I'm like, you're not helping at all.
You're
Like,
locally famous.
yeah, but I just don't want the pressure of trying to be funny to strangers.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather just like sink or swim on my own. Like, please don't put any pressure on me.
I mean, that's
I
the case
fold under any
anytime.
pressure.
If someone just says like, "Oh, this guy's hilarious,"
Yeah,
you're just automatically not going to be funny. The
exactly.
Rest of
Like
the
Oh,
you're
night.
it's
just
terrible.
oh, can't think of
Yeah,
anything."
yeah.
Anyway, we are way over time. So, David, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
Is there anything you wanted to talk about that you didn't get a chance to? That's on your little sheet there, or
It's just
what?
that book. You guys should go read it. Yeah.
What's it called?
Let me read it again.
Had a long name. Oof.
It's
Is
a great-
It's a kid's book.
It's a kid's book, and it's really fun. You know, there's this
Did
statue.
you guys ever watch?
It's
Read
Michelangelo,
Sideways
What's
Stories?
the, what's
is
the
it?
age date? Or
Sideways
age range?
Stories from Wayside Schools?
Oh,
I know.
I think it's like fifth
That
grade.
shit
or
was
something.
dope as
Something's-
hell.
Oh,
it's-
fifth grade.
it's-
Okay, big
it's-
kids.
It's a My Phone Died book. You know,
Big kids.
bang
okay.
bang. Miss Basil E. Frankweiler and Her Mixed Up Files. But the reason why that's so cool is it's a female author that really sort of, for me as a child, it was the establishment of why museums are cool, and it's establishment why Connecticut is convenient. And there was like this sort of pride that came with like, I can come to the New Haven Museum, the Yale New Haven Museum, and see amazing pieces of art and history for free.
Well,
That's
pretty sweet.
cultural. We're rich in culture, you know? So it's
Mhm.
like we have proximity to the good stuff. And so that's what I wanted to leave with is that book as a fifth grader showed me early on, oh, damn, I could do that. I could take the train and it was interesting. I wasn't trapped in Coventry spiritually, you know?
I'm still trapped in Coventry spiritually, too.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
You want to plug anything? Got anything to plug?
Plug something. Anything.
My phone, it's about to die. So.
Oh boy.
No, I think in New Haven right now, plug what's coming up. I mean, the St. Patrick's Day Parade's going to be happening again, which is
Oh,
exciting.
gosh, yeah,
So I
that's
I'm
think,
excited about
Cool.
that. I feel like it's ill publicized though.
I know. We should definitely talk about it because it's one of my favorite things.
I feel
to
like
do.
the drunk kids will figure it out though somehow.
I'm excited for it. Hopefully, we get
Well,
good
my
weather.
dad didn't even know about it, and he usually
TikTok.
marches in it. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
like there hadn't been a lot of talk like
Interesting.
with his group and that stuff.
yeah.
So
I'm going to see some bands in Hamden soon. That's exciting.
There you go.
Yeah. And yeah.
I've loved College Street Music Hall.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to College Street show. I think I'm gonna go see Coheed and Cambria there.
Cool.
They're pretty good. So,
Mhm.
Great. All right. Well, so see me there. I'm plugging Coheed and Cambria at the College Street Music Hall. I'll be
There you
there.
go.
Please say hi.
Yeah.
Especially if you're cute.
Follow for follow.
Follow for all. Like and subscribe. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming, everybody.
yeah, this is great.
Sorry, my energy is like
Yeah, pick it up next time.
Yeah, I'll try it. We'll see. I'm always on the cusp. And thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time here on the Two Rocks Podcast.
Yeah.
Busy people and lots of yellies, Worcester hipsters and fat up townies. We have more than pizza in common, with 2 rocks for bookends. New Haven, New Haven, New Haven, between 2 rocks.